We are now currently at the town that I sort of grew up in. You can see my vehicle is very dirty. So let's not look into my vehicle and let's look outside. Me and my friends used to play out in these mountains. I guess they're just really tall hills, if we have to be honest about it. We drive on these roads with our bikes, exploring everything. It's a bit too late in the day. I doubt we're gonna see kudu. The Great Karoo, where we are now, has some of the most beautiful kudu that I've certainly ever seen. You get two kudu species in Africa. You've got the lesser kudu that is in the north of the continent, and then you get the greater kudu, which is in the south. And they're called the greater kudu because they're better. And they're better because they're bigger. They're more of an impressive animal. The Bushmen used to use plants like this. Well, that was not the plan. And they used that white stuff to make a poison that they'd put on their arrows. It's amazing to think that hundreds of years ago, people could survive in a place like this without modern civilization right over there. Now, something that you'll notice all the way, all these hills is the dirt we're standing on. This is very interesting because these are all sedimentary rocks, mud rock specifically, this one at least. I'll point out sandstone if I feel like it. I think I just saw some sandstone. Rocks like this was formed due to sediment in water that compacted on each other and solidified. This entire area was covered underwater at a certain point in time in history. And we know this not because of the glass pieces, because hooligans can't respect the natural environment, because of the sedimentary rock. You would not find this formed outside of water, as far as I know. It's crazy to think that where I'm standing now used to be at the bottom of an inland sea. Obviously not the very bottom, because that is lower than where I'm standing now. This is gonna sound all like mystical and native, but the land has a story to tell if you know where to look. Over here is a dry riverbed where water used to flow down. Probably hasn't flown in 50, 40, 70, 100 years even. It's very interesting that there's not any plants growing. Why hasn't the plants retaken this area? There's no nutrients in the soil, and so it remains a scar on the land where water used to be. Oh, well, humans had nothing to do with this, man. Nobody lives on top of there with a little reservoir. It's a natural process, is my thoughts. There were certainly droughts and floods in the past, before we had airplanes and cars, and can't help but wonder that there's people with an agenda to push. Found something interesting over here. Very, very old predator feces. I know it's a predator because there's clumps of hair in it. Most likely a jackal. I know it's not a domesticated dog, because a dog's not going to have fur like that in their feces. If we follow this old, dried up riverbed, we can follow where the water went, this exposed rock, as the water cleaned the dirt off of it, flowing down. I can only imagine what it would have looked like when there was a thriving, flowing river here. We've got this little hill, and on that side is a deeper cut, and on this side is a deeper cut. So obviously, water would flow down there, would cut across there on those sides, connect together there again, and flow out that side. Now, I don't know the name of this plant, but look at this twig. See those spikes? And I use that word intently because these are not thorns. A spike is part of the branch of a plant. Might look similar, but it's different. These are thorns. So whereas a spike is an adaptation of the branch, a thorn is an adaptation of a leaf. Different plants using a similar strategy to protect itself. Protect itself from what, you might ask? Well, kudu. If you were a hunter, this would be a great place to lay on top of, looking for Cape buffalo. They love areas like this. But of course, that would have been many, many years ago. That big open field is where I went to school as a kid. You can very slightly make out that there's some layers going on here. Some darker Mud rock on top, lighter, dark again, lighter again. You can see a bit better. Here we have a beautiful close-up view of Spandauskop. This mountain is iconic to this little town. It's incredible to think that this is an ancient landmark that has literally seen millennia pass by to find a town being built in its shadow. I should write a book, but it's gotta be a lot less pretentious sounding. I hate it when people write books like that. The Great Karoo is so iconic. It's even the symbol of our national parks in the country. I wonder why they use the Great Dane as a symbol. Dogs are allowed to walk here. I really hate it when people walk their dogs off leash and the dog's not properly trained. Many people aren't interested in raising their dogs or training their dogs correctly. And it becomes an absolute nuisance. And this is something that I don't think a lot of city slickers know about. This is very important because it helps keep animals from venturing out into town. They struggle to navigate the open areas, and so that's a great way to keep them in while allowing cars to drive in and out. Many years ago, through that path, there was a horse riding school that I used to attend. One day, we were on an outride. It wasn't on any of the main roads, it was somewhere through these hills. Suddenly I heard a loud bark from behind me, and I got a fright because I thought it was a baboon. Both me and my horse spooked. I almost fell out of my saddle. Next thing I knew, my left leg in my stirrups with my other leg on the ground. Turns out it was a dog. Would not piss off, would not leave the horses alone. My riding instructor jumped off his horse just as he picked up a rock to throw at this dog. An old lady appeared from around the corner. What she was doing with her dog out in these mountains, not even on a road, is beyond me. And obviously he couldn't throw the rock at the dog then. This is part of why I hate it when people just walk with their dogs without a leash, especially if that dog has not been trained. We got some more poop to investigate. It's old and it's dry, obviously. Look at it. Got that little point on top, and it's fairly round. This is vervet monkey. This is all part of the same rock. Through heat and cold, the rock split. And after it split, little plant seed got in there and started to grow.